In 1945, as the Third Reich was collapsing, its leaders attempted the impossible: to make $3.6 billion in stolen gold vanish. This wasn't just the German National Reserve. This was the wealth of a continent, gold stripped from central banks in Amsterdam, Vienna, and Rome, wedding rings melted down, dental fillings pulled from concentration camp victims. It was the material foundation of the most evil regime in history. All of it, 100 tons of gold bullion, coins, and art, was ordered by Hitler's inner circle to be moved from Berlin's Reichsbank into the deep darkness of the German countryside. And then, in the final hours of the war, it disappeared. Decades later, historians, military intelligence, and desperate treasure hunters are still chasing the phantom shipment. This isn't just a tale of lost treasure, it's the last deadly secret of the war. The question isn't where the Nazis got their gold. The question is, where did they hide it? Before the gold vanished, it had to be accumulated. The Nazis were not just conquerors. They were the greatest thieves in modern history. The process started subtly with the annexation of countries like Austria and Czechoslovakia, taking their national reserves. But it quickly escalated. As the Wehrmacht swept across Europe, SS units and Reichsbank officials followed, systematically emptying the vaults of France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. This was institutionalized larceny. They even created a special account, Max Heiliger, to launder the gold, diamonds, and currency seized from the concentration camps. That name, Max Heiliger, was a macabre joke. It means maximum saintly in German. By 1944, the Reichsbank in Berlin housed a colossal fortune, more gold than the bank had ever possessed legally. But by January 1945, the Soviet artillery was close enough for the windows of the Reichsbank to rattle. It was time to move the loot. The first major clue came with Operation Safe Haven, the Allied hunt for Nazi loot. In April 1945, U.S. troops stumbled upon the massive Merkers salt mine. Inside, they found a vault holding the treasures of Berlin's entire economic establishment, crates filled with priceless artwork, currency, and, crucially, 250 tons of gold bullion and coins. Generals Eisenhower, Patton, and Bradley personally descended into the mine, stunned by the scale of the find. This was the official, documented Reichsbank reserve. But here is the critical historical detail. It was only about 70% of the estimated total. Where was the rest? The remaining 30%, the truly hot gold, the treasure connected to forced labor and camp seizures, had been loaded onto a separate convoy weeks earlier and sent south, deeper into the crumbling German territory, towards the Alps. This was the gold Hitler's closest confidants, like Martin Bormann, planned to use to fund their escape, continue the fight, or establish an economic sanctuary for Nazism. This is where the documented history ends and the treasure hunt begins. One of the most compelling theories centers on Lower Silesia, Poland, an area known for its complex, subterranean military infrastructure built by the Nazis. Project Reese, or Giant. The story emerged in 2015 when two men, a Polish historian and a German treasure hunter, claimed they had located a 200-foot-long armored train buried in a forgotten rail tunnel near the city of Leipzig, then known as Waldenburg. Their evidence? Ground-penetrating radar. Their claim? This was the second train, the one filled with the missing 30% of the Reichsbank gold, alongside diamonds, priceless jewels, and weaponry. The train, they argued, was deliberately sealed inside a tunnel by retreating SS forces, with the intention of recovering it later. This theory has everything: a clear location, eyewitness accounts from the war's end, and a spectacular visual. It ignited a global media frenzy. Millions of dollars were spent on excavation. In 2016 and 2018, deep digs were conducted. The result? Nothing. No train. Only empty tunnels and natural ice formations. But does a failed excavation mean the theory is dead? Not in the world of treasure hunting. Many believe the hunters were digging in the wrong exact spot, convinced the train lies buried just a few hundred yards away, under one of the area's many sealed rail beds. The mystery of the gold train continues to lure adventurers to this day. While the story of a lost train is cinematic, the darkest truth about the missing gold might not involve a subterranean hiding spot, but a more insidious method: global finance. For the Nazis, Operation Safe Haven wasn't just about hiding gold, it was about laundering it. They understood that gold bars bearing the stamp of the Belgian or Dutch National Bank were tainted. So, they established massive smuggling operations through neutral nations, primarily Switzerland, Portugal, and Sweden. The process was simple. They would use Swiss banks to accept the stolen bullion, melt it down, and recast it with a neutral Swiss stamp. This clean gold could then be traded internationally to buy critical war materials like tungsten and ball bearings to keep their war machine running. After the war, investigators discovered Swiss banks were holding hundreds of millions in unallocated Nazi gold, often disguised as payments for seemingly innocent transactions. This is the most successful disappearance of Hitler's gold. It didn't go into a tunnel. It went into the global financial system, where the true ownership was erased forever by the anonymity of banking. The international outcry over this led to decades of lawsuits and the slow, reluctant repatriation of small amounts of gold. But the vast majority of the Max Heiliger Fund remains untraceable, melted into the global economy. The hunt for the remaining gold endures because it holds more than just financial value. It represents unclosed historical files. The question of where the rest of the gold lies is inextricably linked to the truth about how the Nazis intended to continue their legacy, and it remains a constant point of tension between nations. Today, amateur historians and professional adventurers continue to comb through Poland's mountains, Austria's lakes, and even the records of South American banks. Each claim, each new radar scan, forces a re-examination of history. Was the gold dumped in Lake Toplitz? Was it sealed beneath a mountain in Bavaria? Or is it simply a dark financial stain on the records of 20th century banking? The evidence is clear. Not every last bar was accounted for. The missing billions are the ghost of the Third Reich, a reminder that some of the greatest crimes in history are never fully paid for. The fact is, a huge fortune, built on the suffering of millions, simply evaporated. We know the Nazis were master manipulators and careful record keepers. They didn't just lose this gold, they executed a plan. The gold train may have been a decoy. The real plan may have been the financial laundering in Switzerland. But what do you think? Where is the final resting place of Hitler's gold? Was it truly melted and absorbed into the global economy, or is the armored train still sitting beneath the mountains of Poland, waiting for the right moment or the right historian to find it? Let me know your best theories in the comments below. And if you want to see a deep dive into Operation Paperclip, how the US secretly recruited Nazi scientists, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.